I remember the day I met Misty like it was yesterday. It was my 13th birthday, and my uncle had brought a small, trembling kitten in a little woven basket as a gift. She was so tiny, with the softest gray fur and the most curious green eyes. I could see the fear in her eyes, but there was also a spark of wonder. She had been separated from her mother too soon, and my uncle had found her abandoned in a parking lot. From that moment on, Misty became my world, and I became hers. Misty and I grew up together. She was there through the awkward teenage years, always waiting for me when I got home from school. I remember crying in her fur after my first heartbreak, her gentle purring like a soft lullaby that eased my pain. She'd curl up on my lap when I was studying late into the night, her presence a comfort that made even the loneliest moments bearable. We shared so many happy moments too. I remember her chasing butterflies in the garden, leaping with such grace it seemed like she could fly. She loved to climb trees, and every time she got herself stuck on a branch too high, I would come running with a ladder and a worried heart, but always relieved when I brought her down safely. She was my little adventurer, fearless and full of life. But life, as it always does, kept moving forward. I graduated, moved to a new city, and faced the challenges of adulthood. Through it all, Misty was my constant. Her once silky fur turned a bit coarse, and her eyes, though still bright, showed signs of age. The adventures in the garden became less frequent. Instead, she preferred to sleep more, often curled up in her favorite sunny spot by the window. I knew she was getting older, but I refused to accept it. She was my Misty, and she had been there my whole life. I couldn't imagine a world without her. Then one day she stopped eating. At first, I thought it was just a phase, but when she began losing weight rapidly, I knew something was terribly wrong. I took her to the vet, my heart pounding in my chest. The news was worse than I could have ever imagined. Misty had a severe kidney condition. The vet explained that, given her age, there wasn't much that could be done to save her. The best we could do was make her comfortable. I spent every waking moment with her, hoping against hope for a miracle that never came. Watching her suffer was unbearable. Her once vibrant eyes were now dull with pain. I knew I had to make the hardest decision of my life, but I wanted to hold on to her for just a little longer. I wanted more time, but time is a cruel thief. The day I had to say goodbye was the worst day of my life. I held her close as the vet gently administered the injection. I whispered to her how much I loved her, how grateful I was for every moment we had shared. Her breathing slowed, and then, just like that, she was gone. The room was so quiet, and the weight of that silence crushed me. The days that followed were a blur of tears and emptiness. I kept expecting to see her around every corner, to hear her soft meow or feel her nuzzle against my hand. The house felt so empty without her, and my heart ached in a way I didn't know was possible. I still find myself reaching out in the night, hoping to feel her warm, comforting presence by my side. I miss Misty more than words can say. 17 years is a lifetime, and yet it wasn't nearly enough. I often dream of her, and in those dreams, she's healthy and young again, her eyes bright with life and love. I like to think that one day, when my time comes, I'll see her again, that she'll be waiting for me on the other side, just like she always waited for me at the door. Until then, I'll carry her memory in my heart, where she will always be with me.